Hey, welcome to Auburndale Greenhouse. Even though the greenhouse is gone, there's all kinds of other things that we can be doing around the yard and things like that. And one of the things that we always look at is hosta season. That's right, hasta la vista, baby. Not the Terminator, but we are going to do some other things rather than terminating. We're going to do something called division. And this is something we can do with a lot of different flowers in our landscape. Hostas are probably the flagship of that. So when we buy hostas, we're going to get them either in a small pack like this, and then put them in the ground, and then over time they're going to get bigger and bigger and bigger as they send out shoots out of the roots here. And you can see that there's all kinds of roots that are forming here, and as they come out, then they'll shoot out off these roots. They'll send out runners, which then sprout new hostas. And so what happens when our hostas get too big? Well, we divide, and we can get very aggressive, and this is where you need to understand that you need to get mother's old knife, not her good Pampered Chef, not her good Chicago cutlery, but something really old. And we're gonna dig this down, use one shovel spade and dig all the way around, pop out what you don't want, whether that's around the edge or take the whole thing out, and then we're gonna divide it, and then you can put it back in the hole. But to divide it, we're just gonna cut this guy, take my knife, and I'm going to thread it in between here. So you can see the knife here and here. And we're going to take our knife, and as you can see, we have our root storage structures here, and our roots that go down here, and that's why we go down deep. So what we can do then is we're going to trim off this portion here, because this is just waste right now, and we'll trim off this portion here. And she had a lot of nice mulch in there to mulch around her hostas. Now you can leave it at this, but we can also go down and take off one more division on this guy, okay? And this is going to be just fine. You can see how this guy here starts and everything roots out to here, but this little bit here is going to be a good starter plant. And what we're then going to do is we're going to take that in. If we're going to transplant them to somebody else's house, we can put them in a bag as long as we're going to do it right away. But if we're going to do this later on, we're going to take some soil and water these guys in so our roots don't dry out. And here we have a divided hosta. And you can do this with every hosta plant that exists. In case you were afraid, it's possible. You can do it. Find yourself an old knife. Make sure you don't cut yourself. You can also do it with a shovel if you want. But this is a typical way of propagating hostas of many different varieties. This one happens to be solid green. You can get mammoth ones. They're striped, different variegations, white on the outside, white in the center. Curly leaf, short ones, dwarf ones, King Kong ones. But hostas are one of my favorite plants, and they're a really cool plant to have in your landscape. So that's dividing a hosta.